All right, what is good, everybody? Quancredible here with the review for Fortnite's Chapter 54. I will say I apologize for the bit of a later review today than usual. Overslept, and plus I've been arguing on Twitter. So like when I get arguing on Twitter about like feats and like versus battles, I get distracted. So that's my fault. But the review is here nonetheless. 54. It basically is more of a continuation between the fight between Percival and these three. Some interesting developments in it, honestly, I will say. I will say in the beginning of this chapter with Percival and Isolde kind of going back and forth, I kind of like the premise of her magic because like she's swinging like her like big mace around trying to hit Percival, still trying to crush his nuts, but like she can't do it. Like she literally cannot touch him, and her magic Percival noticed that when she swings her mace down, it like leaves magic in the ground, and then when we see later that like it detonates all after the effect. So I think that that's like kind of a really cool premise, to be honest with you. Like kind of just like attacking and laying things down, and then it like blows up later. It honestly reminds me of in the Tournament of Power. This was like a really random moment, but like when Goku was dodging Jiren, and like every time he would touch the ground, he would leave like energy in the stage. So then when Jiren like walked, it was like a minefield, and it all like blew up. Kind of hype to me, but like that's what it reminds me of. Also, a really interesting thing too is with the other guy's magic, Cheon, I believe it is. I get him and Jade mixed up. I think it's Cheon. It seems like he has this kind of familiar name Sylph that is the one that is taking away Percival's voice and his breath. And even Percival says it's like he's up on God's finger. Now, I apologize if I'm gonna do that thing where I like skip around a lot, but like later in the chapter when it happens to like Donnie and them, they legit cannot even breathe. Like they can't breathe at all. And it's one of those things where I didn't think about it, but God's finger was so high up, the air is probably crazy thin up there. So like Percival's probably just a beast for even being able to just live in that exact, like, to just to be able to live on God's finger. I didn't think about it, is a feat in itself because the air would be so thin up there. I never even thought about that. I never thought Nakaba would actually like implement that into the series, like make that a thing, because a lot of times authors don't really try to pay attention to the science of things, but that is actually how that would be. So the fact that Percy was even able to like exist and even live through this, like the fact that he has no air and fight, crazy. So then, while Percival is down, we do get to see a new broken ability from Hero Type Magic. Well, not really a new broken ability because he's used it before, but kind of him using it in a more localized way because he did this with the Ancient Dragon, but him doing this to Isolde is on a much smaller scale where she goes to strike him, but he pops out his Hero Type Magic. It absorbs her explosion and then holds it inside, keeping him safe. And it's crazy because when Sylph, Cheon's familiar, sees this, he's like, the Sylph is gone. He's out of here. He's like, I want nothing to do with this. So this kind of gives a little bit more to familiars and spirits in Seven Deadly Sins, and probably a lot of more, or not Seven Deadly Sins, in Four Nights of Apocalypse and Seven Deadly Sins, to where like a lot of the older beings, I'd imagine, that probably know what Percival's magic is or are seeing how it operates would be naturally terrified of just him in general because they probably know the full scope of this ability, or more along the lines of what more it can do. So Sylph sees and Sylph is gone, which I thought was like a little funny moment. I also like the fact that Percival's hero type magic, it still retains whatever, like when it absorbs a magical attack, it still retains whatever magical effect it had, such as these old, it's like timed explosion, which was enough to take her out, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I did like that it like retained the effect and like tracked her down. It like followed her. It's like this, like here's that magic literally just does whatever it wants. Like it's like plot magic essentially. But even still, even though once Percival got out, Sylph is gone, so he can breathe and talk normal now. And Jay traps him in this like sphere of darkness, so where he can't see or anything. Like he can't do anything. Or I mean, he can still fight and stuff, but he just can't see. But Percival senses, honestly, I think if he were to fight like this, he probably would have been fine. But just when they're about to attack him, Donnie like throws a barrel, and this is when Percival's group arrives. So Percival's no longer getting jumped. It's kind of like it's more of like Percival's group versus this group. And basically, this brings me back to what I was saying earlier, where Cheon uses Sylph's ability again, as I said, on Donnie, Nansons, and Annie, and they are just down. Like they can't they can't breathe at all. And like Donnie, I get it, but Nansons and Annie are like pretty tough. Like they're relatively tough, and they're just like gasping for air, can't breathe. And Ysolda comes through and she just like legit brings the hammer on all three of them. Like they got effed up. And Percival, it sucks that we got robbed of this moment because Percival, like he felt the he felt the damage on like Annie's arm, and I don't know what he said. Like I don't know if this is, see, I want to know, was this the demon language, or if this was like the language that like Merlin was speaking, or is this a different language entirely? I don't think we're ever going to know what he actually said, but I feel like he was about to get like that rage moment, similar to like what Meliodas got before back at like the what was it, the Vizel Fight Festival. Well, I'll try saying that 3 times fast. But I feel like we were going to get a moment like that because he got up and like something was about to go down. I don't know what was about to go down, but something was definitely about to happen. And but before that even gets to happen, we get Tristan at the end of the chapter showing up, telling him to stop, cut it out, what are you guys doing? And that is like the end. And it's funny because this group of 3 that's like the Tristan platoon, it reminds me so much of in Fairy Tail. I don't know how many of you guys have seen it, but in like what is it, Loxus's Thunder platoon or his Thunder Squad or the Thunder Gang, whatever they were. I can't remember their name. Somebody in the comments, please let me know. But it reminds me of whatever like little Loxus's Thunder Squad was, where it was like the was it like Big Slow, Freed, and oh, I can't remember the chick's name with the glasses, but it reminds me of those 3 uh for some reason, because like 3 of them, 2 dudes, 1 chick, overly dedicated to like their leader. There's definitely some similarities there, but Tristan put the end to this, and it sucks because I really wanted to see what Percival was going to do, because I felt like if we could have got like 2 more pages before Tristan got there, I wanted to see Percival like wreck all 3 of these dudes at the same time. Like I really wanted to see that happen, but I guess we're not going to get it. And with them being revealed as the Tristan platoon, I feel like this definitely takes away from a lot of the Ysolda stocks I've been seeing recently. Because I've seen like a lot of people, and myself included, can see the similarities between her and Diane, seeing as like they're both really tall. Nakaba gave them both the same kind of eyes. I can't really see too many other characters with eyes like that. I think Vivian has similar eyes to Diane, I think, in terms of shape. I think. But and the fact that Ysolda is really tall, like she's much taller than the other guys, so like she could be, King and Diane's child, but at the same time, if she's just in Tristan's platoon, that kind of makes her less important. So like, she might not be like, I guess she's not going to be at Four Knights. It's tough to tell, but I'm definitely leaning a lot towards no. Um, Another thing, Tristan's design, when he was a kid, like first shown at the end of Seven Deadly Sins, I didn't really care for it. But right now, because even in the trailer for the movie, he still looks a little goofy. But right now, with like his armor and stuff, he looks a lot more like, even though he's only like 16, like he looks like a lot more mature. Like he like his design fits a lot better. I know a lot of people like think he looks like this weird mix of like Meliodas and Elizabeth, and it looks weird. But at the same time, I'm just like, most parents look like a mixture, or but at the same time, most kids look like a mixture of their parents. So is it really that weird? Like, oh, he looks like Elizabeth and Meliodas mixed together. Like, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what happens when you have a kid. But all in all, I thought this chapter was really dope. I enjoyed it a lot. Like, I really did enjoy this chapter. Probably not actually as hype, once I probably, because I always, even after I make these videos, I go back and reread the chapter again just for anything that I may have missed again. But even after like reading it 2 or 3 times already, I liked the chapter a lot. Just because Tristan in the end, like we finally got to see Tristan, it kind of felt like out of nowhere too. So I'd probably give it like, probably like a 7. It was definitely better than last chapter for sure. In my opinion, definitely better than last chapter. So I'm gonna give this one a 7. But yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking about the chapter down below. What do you guys like? What do you guys think is gonna happen from here with like Tristan being here with Percival? I mean, obviously Percival's gonna heal his friends. Like that's probably gonna be the first thing he does once all of this darkness is off. Or maybe Tristan might do it. Because I mean, Tristan is Elizabeth's kid, so maybe as like a gesture of good faith towards Percival, he'll heal. Like he'll definitely heal whatever wounds that his group, inflicted to Percival's group. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air, but I am curious to know what you guys think is gonna happen next week. Hopefully, we get this big, union or reunion for like Tristan, Lancelot, and Percival, because I know we've all been waiting to see that. But yeah, just let me know all of you guys' thoughts down below. With that being said, you guys all enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all in my next video.